Welcome to Citizens of the Rave, episode 3. Today we have a very special guest, Drinks on Me, coming at us from London. And this guy has a really unique story because he really started to pop off just before COVID hit. And he's 19 years old. He hasn't even played a live show, but he has some chart-topping hits. His first release was on Night Bass. He's done a BBC Radio 1 mix at the age of 18 with all original tracks. So this is someone to watch out for in the future. We go deep into his processes as an artist, his purpose, his passion, his meaning, and how much fun he's having while he's doing all of it.
Yeah. And this episode is sponsored by Paps. And as always, we're giving away some stuff. In today's prize pack, we have a bandana, a pair of socks, and a brand new deck.
Tune in and enjoy the show. Cheers.
Cheers.
Can you hear those horns?
They're probably too faint.
I don't know if you can hear that.
Very faintly.
In Gastown, where we live in Vancouver, at 12 o'clock, these horns go off every day. It's like, dun, dun,
Oh, my days.
dun, dun.
Give you a little piece of the anthem.
You're like, oh, it's time to eat every day.
Yeah. Okay, well, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, appreciate
It's
it.
a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. How are you over there?
All good. I mean, there's a difference between our daylight going on. It's 8 o'clock over here.
Yeah,
So,
right. Yeah, we're noon.
But yeah, I mean, in the UK at the moment, everything's just come to a standstill, really. How's everything over in Canada?
Yeah, it's pretty standstillish here as well.
Yeah.
We haven't played a live show since March.
March 12th.
March
was
12th was our
real
last
show.
real
Mad.
show. So yeah, coming up on a year. Yeah.
We live on the
quiet.
West Coast, though, so it's a little bit more chill here than the East Coast.
Yeah.
Canada,
Yeah.
big place, but yeah, they just have a little more lockdown restriction there than we do. But still, I mean, yeah, it's technically
We're only allowed to hang out with our household.
yeah, or go to work. That's about it. You can sit in a restaurant with each other too.
But yeah, you can go to a
Yeah.
restaurant, you can go grocery shopping, you can consume.
It's the same here, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, It's getting better there, though, right? You guys getting a lot of shots, and I think your numbers have gone way down last month, haven't they?
Yeah, we've done about a quarter of the population vaccinating them. So that's pretty good. I mean, hopefully we can get the rest done by summer, but I can't see that happening, to be honest. But yeah, like the numbers are going down and stuff, but everything's just literally hit a standstill. I mean, my music stuff really took off just after like the first lockdown, so I didn't really even play a show. Because my first release being in December, and then everything sort of shutting down in March, I didn't really have any time to get bookings or anything. So it's gonna be quite crazy for me, having seen my numbers going up, but then coming out of lockdown and hopefully getting some gigs. It's gonna be pretty crazy.
Getting that momentum going, yeah. And I want to talk about that too. I mean, so you were 18, your first release. You're 19 now.
Yeah, 19 now.
So 18, coming out hot, Night Bass right off the bat. At that age, like, we were just curious, like, first of all, like, what was that like, and how did you get there?
So, I mean, Night Bass was always a dream label for me. So it was mad for that to be my first one. Like, I've got in my wardrobe back there, I've got like a Night Bass 14 t-shirts. That must have been quite a while ago. And yeah, like, it's always been a big dream of mine. So for that to be my first release, let alone even like getting on there in the first place, was pretty crazy. And I've been asked quite a bit about this because it does seem quite weird for your first release to be on Night Bass, I guess. Like, a lot of people come through smaller labels. Night Bass, in the grand scheme of things, is like quite a big deal for any producer, I guess. And for it to be my first one was really like crazy, to be honest. And the way that all came about, I remember just sending I was going to release a track on Friday, and I sent Planes around. It was going to be a free download on SoundCloud, just throw it up on my page. And then I sent it to a couple of people on the Wednesday, just as like pre-release promo, you know, not really knowing what I was doing. And I sent it to Jay Robinson, and he was like, man, this is like one of the best things that I've been sent in a long time, because you know how demo emails be like. Sometimes, you know, it's like that him hearing nice. That he was like, you know, this is really cool, so I'm gonna send it over to AC, and then that all sort of like, I was thrown into an email thread on Thursday, like the day before I was gonna self-release it. And it was pretty crazy how that all happened. And then I waited like about another 4 months for it to be released, but I wasn't complaining. Like, wow. It's a sick label to be on.
And hey, 4 months is fast. Sometimes you got to wait like a year or 2 years. Some labels are really backed up, so they must really love you then.
I guess because it was on a freshman. Being on a freshman compilation, it meant that it could sort of be released a bit quicker. I guess because you just throw it on as another track, and sort of see how it goes. I guess those freshman compilations, like I was talking to AC about it. I was talking to AC about it, and he said that it's kind of like a way of just like seeing how people do on the label and all that, and they get feedback, and you get sort of like that. When it gets sent out in promo, people can rate it and what tracks they really like on the EPs. So it's kind of a way of seeing what flies, who should get another release, and all that sort of stuff. And the feedback on it was really good. Some nice artists were complimenting it, and it was really good to see. So I think that's sort of that was the start of everything, and then. Started doing some more labels and stuff, and it's just kind of gone crazy from there, which it's really nice to see. And
that it has, and so fast too. And like you said, you know, it was like such a big label, like for you and many other artists, and to come out and start on that is so amazing. So you know, big ups on that. But I'm assuming that wasn't your first track you ever made. So like before you got that sign, like what kind of background do you have, and how did you get into producing?
So before Drinks on Me was a project, I used to make. I had a friend who liked the sort of same music as me, called Sam, and he introduced me to like. He told me to download the FL Studio trial, so I was like, okay, I'll do that. I went on it. I spent about 5 minutes on it and was like, what is going on? I looked at it. It looked like something from like the 1990s, and I was like, nah, I give up. And then I got Logic. Because we used to do that in school, and I was like, I sort of know a little bit more about this. The layout's a little bit nicer in my opinion, and it made it a bit easier to learn. I used to make music with him, and we used to make music under an alias called Tech Tight, like back in the Future House days.
I like that name, Tech Tight.
Yeah, and that was like 3 years ago, and then we wanted to make some more techie stuff.
And this is when you're 16.
Yeah, like 16, 15, 16, just messing around, to be honest, like dragging loops in and releasing stuff and calling it my own, which it wasn't, but you know. And then we moved on to Lock and Loud, which was another project, which was me and him again, but just like we wanted to make another alias, and we released a track or two through that, but nothing ever really stuck. And then when I wanted to branch out into making music, I sort of took a year out and was just, you know, messing around with making new stuff on my own, and ended up making Drinks on Me, and then that's how Planes came about. But really, all of my production stuff was really started through my friend just introducing me to like a trial version of FL Studio, cool. which is quite crazy.
And did you have any sort of musical background? Did you play any instruments or have any knowledge of music theory or anything like that?
Not at all. And that's something that I'm learning now. That's something that lockdown's given me the chance to do, is learn a bit of music theory, because I'm branching out into a bit more of a melodic sort of like UKG sound now. And the music theory was really like biting me in the arse. I had to like sit there and try and play chords and just move notes up and down depending on if like just by ear, and trying to make all of these chords by ear, and then just pitching them down 5 semitones and calling it a day. Like it was music theory was not something that I really ever knew until quite recently.
That's a
which
bit
has
surprising.
sort of
You wouldn't know listening to your music.
yeah,
To be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. No, I just do everything by listening to it, and then I sort of like hum it out and play it and try and like recreate stuff. But it must be so much easier if you actually know.
Totally.
Yeah, like it is.
Well, you have
it
a
can be a
gift,
bit of
so-
a pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you have if you like, we're kind of the same way. Like we have a little bit of
Yeah.
music theory background, but it definitely slows us down.
Yeah.
Not having that like full on knowledge base, but I mean, there's always ways around it and ways to like figure things out. It's just slower. But I'm surprised because I think I said to Josh right before, I'm like, for sure he's got to have like some
Music.
he's played instruments, like
Yeah.
something like that. So I'm pleasantly surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to ask you about like your sound, because you have this like UKG sound, which we love. We're obsessed with garage.
Garage.
Say it right. And then you've got like house and bass, and like I've also, what you just said, noticed, you know, that you have also a lot of really like beautiful melodies, and really like pretty sounds, I would call it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. So what influenced that sound? Was it like growing up in London? Was there something specific that has influenced that kind of sound for you?
Yeah, I think really like I take a lot of influence from different things. So I was very sort of obsessed with the future. I think I started off when I was like 12, as every producer sort of did, listening to some Skrillex,
Yeah.
and then, like some dubsteppy stuff that was sort of big at the time, and then that moved on to Future House with like Oliver Heldens, Charmy, and all of that, which was where I think I pick up some sort of like the melody stuff. And obviously being from the UK, you can't really escape UK garage as well. Like we've, the AJ Tracy song, and like all these things coming through now into the sort of global charts, which are sort of garage produced. So I think that sort of influences my drum side of things, and then the bass side of things was through like the night bass sound and this bass house sound, like listening to Matroda and all these other sort of people a year back. And it's just really made my sound sort of a mixture of all of those sorts of things. I'm trying to sort of make a lot of different stuff and use like some chords from UKG, some melodies from Future House, and bass from Bassline, sort of mix it all together into some kind of a sound that I can sort of call my own, even if it is just a load of different sounds mixed together.
Well, you do it very well.
Yeah,
It's
Thank
working.
you.
It's working.
Definitely can like sense the versatility, but then you still have that it all like they're all cousins, you know, they all like work together. You can tell.
The umbrella of house.
Yes.
It's a big umbrella.
Do you have like a specific process to how you write music? Is there something specific that you do? Is it kind of all over the place? Are you still developing that, or like what does that look like for you?
Oh, it really depends on what I'm making, I guess. Like if I'm making more bassy stuff, I'll start off sound designing and going into Serum and, you know, sampling basses and whatever, and just like reprocessing them. If I'm sort of working on a more UKG thing or more melodic, I'll start off with the chords and stuff and then try and build a drop around that. Making some more like melodic stuff, I'll start off with those sorts of, you know, chords, synths, arps, whatever, and then build something around that. So it sort of depends, but usually I find it easier to produce drums first and then make top lines over that. How do you guys sort of do it when you produce?
Yeah, I think it's like usually for a song, we always like have some sort of a concept first.
Yeah.
But we definitely start with drums.
But
though.
drums, yeah,
when
for
we're
sure.
writing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people actually start with, you know, the bass line, actually. A lot of our friends do that, but I kind of just, I find I can get in more of a groove when I have the drums going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
can hear it better.
But then there's like those times when you like create an awesome patch or whatever, and you start to write it around that. But definitely the drums. And then what we'll do is usually like try to get like a loop going of something that sounds interesting, some sort of melody going, and then we'll make like an A section and a B section. So it's kind of like the drop and like the build. so that they go together. Because in the past we've made songs where we like make an awesome drop and then try to like arrange out a song, and then you end up having a song that sounds so dissonant, like a different build. So you try to write
two or three different tracks
together and then arrange it out.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of producers now making these like crazy songs that are like just like a genre blender of like every drop is like a new genre. You're like, oh.
Yeah, it can be fun. It can be fun. It can be a little chaotic, but that can be fun when you're DJing.
Yeah. Can I know you're sort of like asking me the questions, but I'm really interested in asking you guys like how you, because you've got a really sort of unique, I guess, selling point in terms of if you're looking at like branding, you two being together. So how did you guys like meet, and then was there one of you that introduced the other to this kind of music, or does one of you take more of the DJing side, one of you take more of the production side? Like, how's it sort of work with you guys?
So we met at Coachella.
Mad.
Which is wild because we both live in Vancouver and kind of like hung with the same crews and like always went to the same music festivals. But that's when we actually first met. And
2012, the Tupac.
Yeah, it was the Tupac hologram.
Wow.
Big West Coast hip hop fans.
Yeah. And at the time, we were both kind of like with other people, but had this like spark between us, and so we became good friends and started going to music festivals together. And then eventually, we actually started dating through music because Josh had been DJing already for how many years?
At that point, 12 years, I guess.
12 years, yeah. And I was like, I've played,
20 years yesterday, actually. It was my anniversary. 21
Happy
years.
anniversary, babe.
You're old.
Oh man. And then like I was like deeply immersed into like the festival scene and always wanted to DJ, but at the time I was doing my master's degree. My other job is in sports psychology. I work as a mental performance consultant, so I do mental skills training with athletes. And so at the time I was just like so deep into that world, but really, really deeply wanted to get into the DJing kind of thing. But I was like, I don't really have time. And Josh was like, what do you mean? If you want to do it, like you got to do it in this lifetime.
She's trying to say not in this lifetime shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So then he started teaching me, and we created a little duo together, and we were both like really into house music at the time. So we started more like new disco and like
there's some
speed
like
garage and like
trap
influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was in another group, like a little trap group with my brother and one of our friends. And we were, cause it was like called Decibel Empire. So we're like, I'm going to bring Danny in. They're like, no. And I'm like, okay, I'm leaving then.
They didn't think we would last.
No, they didn't think we'd last. So, yeah.
That's a dedicated boyfriend right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just taught her how to DJ, and then, we started producing together. And, it's been 6 years now since that,
Wow. And then your other question in terms of like what we do, like we both have our hand in everything. Like there's not one of us that just does more of the DJing and more of the producing or whatever. But if I would say like who does more of what, Josh definitely does more of like the track selection stuff, and I definitely do more of the production stuff, but it's all like mixed together. But I guess we have like our strengths.
That's a cool thing about having two, is that we can, when the energy comes for one or isn't there for the other, or just inspiration, and you can bounce it off each other, and it's beautiful, it's nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, it must be really nice for you to be able to bounce off each other when, one of you has an idea. It takes the pressure off, because I do find that slightly, being a solo artist, you can, unless you're doing collabs, it's all on you. So I guess it's kind of nice for you guys to be able to bounce off each other.
Yeah. And when you're by yourself too, you could be like, show your friends like, oh, what do you think of this? And they're always gonna be like, dope. Like you're not gonna get that. Nah, that sucks. I mean, it's nice to get that. You'd be honest with me.
Yeah, there's nothing better than like
we can be hard on each other.
A 4-hour studio session being like, babe, what do you think? And he's like, it sounds stale.
Yeah, that's rigid.
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 As he says, your bass line sounds rigid. I'm like, not again.
Yeah, it's nice. Not again. Not again. Oh man. Yeah. So, and then you said you were like, you started pretty much in a duo and you've had two with the same person. So what about you? Like, how do you feel that you like that better now, or there's no difference, or like, what's the deal with that for you?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, like, for me and him, he sort of went off to uni and started making like scores for like, you know, theatre and stuff like that. He went on a totally different route to me, and I wanted to carry on doing that house thing. So it seemed like the natural way to go for me and him to go on our own projects and stuff like that. But I think, like, being solo, you're in charge of your own project, and you don't always have to run your track by someone else, which is a benefit, I suppose. Like, you don't have to come to an agreement, you just make whatever you want. So that kind of creative freedom is something that's good about being in a solo, and you can always sort of do collabs as well with other artists if you're lacking the inspiration, I guess. So I think in terms of like how happy I am being a sort of solo producer, it's definitely better. I don't think I would want to be in a group or a duo or anything like that, but it does have its negatives, I guess. Like I say, you know, it's all on you. If you're having a creative block, there's nothing else apart from if you ask someone else if they've got any ideas. You're just sort of stuck not making anything. So it's sort of 50-50, but I do enjoy both. I definitely want to make more stuff with him again and with other artists, because I think if you're constantly just working on your own thing, it can get a bit boring, and you're using the same like samples, and there's no.
Yeah, and that, you know, it's cool about the DJ world is that there's so many people you can collab with, and there's such a market for that. It's, you know, it's so much different than other music, I guess. Like, bands don't really collab that much with other bands, so it's really cool that, you know, if you want to do that, there's, you know, probably a shit ton of people out there that are down to do it with you, right? So it's a cool option to have, for sure.
100%.
So have you, okay, because you're 19 now, so have you played any shows, like any? Zero shows?
Never.
Honestly, none. Like, I always go down to like pirate studios and just mess around in them, and like, I'm ready to DJ shows, but this came along at a really inconvenient time, because the moment that I hit the time when I really could have started doing shows, everything just went. But it did give me a chance to sort of work on my production side of things rather than DJing, because I feel like if I had gone down that path too soon, I probably, because it would all be new to me, I guess it would be quite easy to just be like, oh, I want to be a DJ and just go and do shows and like play, and just wouldn't have made any music. So I guess that is kind of good. But yeah, never played shows, so it's going to be really mad going back into things.
You're gonna love it, man.
I can't wait to see some of your sets in the future. Maybe have you come down to Canada.
Hell yeah.
For our festival.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I can't wait to travel and like having people say, I mean, it seems so mad for me because I've never played shows. I don't really like understand what goes into it and all of that, and that will come with time. But having people messaging me on Instagram or whatever saying like, oh, you should come here, and if you stop by here, come visit me, like, we'll get drinks. I'm just like, what? This is like crazy. Just me in my bedroom making beats in like headphones, and then you've got sort of a load of people who you talk to, and it opens doors to be able to talk to people like yourselves as well, who you just never would have been able to have spoken to before. So it's kind of crazy, but it's going to be definitely awesome. Excited to see what happens when we can travel and play shows again. Are you guys looking forward to it?
Oh fuck! It's the best part.
I mean, everyone's a stupid question actually.
Hey, everyone's different. I'm sure there's producers out there who would just rather be like door shut, don't want to play shows. But for me, like, that's what it's all about. Especially, you know, man, playing your tracks and having people go after that. Like, there's nothing like it. And just DJing in general with the crowd and the energy and being there with everybody. Like, there's nothing like it. That's you know, that's why I do it.
The best. I think I was like kind of reflecting on like, okay, what is it about live shows that I like love the most or miss the most? And I realized that it's because for me anyways, you're sharing an elevated emotion with like however many people are in the room, whether it's like 10 or like 500. But when everybody is on that same sort of wavelength, it's like the most incredible feeling. Like there's always those moments when you play a song that like doesn't really hit with the crowd, and you know, you can see people like go off to the bar and get a drink, and then you're like, what do I do? Should I have a drink? What do I do with my hands? Like it gets awkward. And then
just crowd surf.
And then when you play a sick song or something like in the right moment or in the right way, and everything's elevated, it almost feels like you get like lifted. Like it's like everything
Time
is like,
stops.
it's like flow. Like your hands are doing perfect things now. Like you don't have to worry about what your hands are
You
doing.
ain't thinking.
If that makes sense. But it's almost like this wave like comes and just like lifts you up, you know, that feeling of like sharing that elevated emotion for me is like the most enticing part of live shows. Like I think that's so cool to be able to direct that energy and then to be able to share that energy with so many people. That's the coolest part, I think.
Yeah. We can't wait to get
100%.
back. Yeah, it's been a rough year for sure because we were traveling and touring quite a bit, playing a lot of shows, and then March 12th, almost we're coming up on the year since our last one. So yeah,
it was a good show.
It's interesting to talk to somebody who like you, who has so many, you know, big heads, who's actually never played a show. So this last year, like you just, the vibe is, the feelings are different because you haven't even experienced it. Like I'm sure you want to, but it's interesting because like we know what we're missing and you just quite haven't yet. So that's cool though. You're going to be busy, man.
It's such a unique
situation.
Yeah, it's very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So I want to know like what your sort of like, I'll call it practice looks like how much time do you spend in the studio? Like, what is your day-to-day look like? Is it, you know, are you like, how much time are you putting into this? What does your practice look like? If that makes sense.
I mean, it's been very varied recently. Like at the start of lockdown, I was really inspired to make stuff and was making sort of like a new idea every day, and spending like 4 or 5 hours just making music because there was nothing else to do. And it was all new, and I still had that sort of like inspiration and was looking at the positives of everything. And then as it drags on, you're just like, fuck, I'm like, there is nothing
too
like,
long.
Yeah, exactly. There's like, I haven't been to a show. I haven't felt any energy. I haven't, you know, even been able to like DJ in these studios that I go to, and really like feel what works and get any ideas from that. So it's been quite sort of at a standstill recently. But in terms of like an average week, I would say I try my best to at least like get an idea or to mix something down or to do something music related every day, probably about an hour a day. But if, to be honest, it's more just if there's an idea, I'll just like take my laptop, go to like my speakers and just bang it out for like 6 hours, take my charger and just like, you know, get it all done. But it really depends for me on how inspired I'm feeling to actually make anything, because there's no point in forcing it. I found this at the start, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to make stuff, and just ended it like binning it all because it was all rubbish, because I was forcing it. I felt like a pressure on myself to keep making music, and it just wasn't productive and I just wasn't making anything good. So yeah, it really does all depend on how inspired I'm feeling, to be honest. But on average, I do try my best to like work on music every day, even if I'm not really feeling it. On the days when I'm not really feeling inspired to make ideas, I'll just mix stuff down, because it's like, it doesn't take any real energy for me. It's just like chucking a load of EQs and just
putting in the work.
Yeah, exactly. Doing all the technical bits, or even like the wider project itself, like thinking about like branding ideas, social media content and all that sort of stuff. If I'm not feeling inspired to actually make music, there's so much stuff you can do. And as well, because a lot of it is on me, as well as like my management, to come up with that side of stuff as well, being a solo project and trying to sort of carve that identity for yourself as well through like social media. You've got to put quite a lot of thought into that. So I do that sometimes as well if I'm not really feeling like making anything.
You just lose yourself in your TikToks.
Oh, those, yeah,
they're great.
Those.
I love those. I love those.
I really should start making some more of them, to be honest.
Yeah, you
should. I just like sort of sharing more about me to people who just think that you're a music person. Like, I find sometimes it's a lot easier to listen to music if you know somebody's like story or their personality, or you've like spoken to them or anything like that. Like, I used to do a sort of Instagram live series, sort of something similar to what you guys do. And when you speak to artists and listen to their like process and all of that sort of stuff, you sort of hear that in the music. And I want to show people that I'm not just like sitting at my desk making music, and that there's like another side to it and a personality behind it, because I think people can really connect to your stuff better if there is that side of things.
Yeah, they see you're real for sure. And I love how you show it too. It's funny.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think like one thing that I've garnered from watching you is that it seems like for you, like fun is a big part of the recipe. Like, I think one time I saw you like write like PP or something in MIDI notes and then like export it. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, yes. Because I think that like, and then your TikTok videos of you dancing and stuff, I think that is so important to show like that character of yourself. But I think that what we're learning too is that fun has to be a part of the process. And I think that if you find a way to enjoy the process, and even, you know, I think some of the most successful artists might learn how to enjoy the like more prickly things that other artists might try to avoid. So yeah, it's cool. I love that you're showing those other sides of yourself. But do you think that like fun, is that something that's like an important piece for you? Yeah,
definitely. And like, I've put a little bit of thought into that, because it's just sort of come to my realization that shit, I might actually need to start thinking about this going forward, and what sort of shows I want to play.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to bring fun and just like make it a vibe, like nothing serious. I'm not going to be like four deck mixing and putting a fucking vinyl on. Like, I just want to sort of like make a fun show and try and get people involved and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, like you hit the nail on the head, really. Like, fun is a huge part of music, because you see quite a lot of people going into music for reasons that aren't, I just love making music. And you can see some people just wanting to be the next that person or this person. And I think fun and just like, you know, I think that's the main, that's why we make music, right? And if you forget about that, and you forget that you're doing it for fun, and you just start trying to make this, or for me, it would be a sort of internal conflict I've been having recently. Is like, you see that a song does well and you go, should I start making more stuff like that? And then you go, nah, fuck it, I'll just make what I want to make. And then, you know, it is what it is. Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to be swearing. I can sense myself.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's totally fine.
But yeah, no, like, definitely just having fun making music. That's what it's all about, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like doing it for the love of it. And I think that, you know, we live in a culture that really breeds this business obsession with outcomes and obsession with reward and recognition. And it's hard to kind of pull yourself away from that and really ask yourself, like, why am I doing this? And the answer, you know, for us is because we love it, because there's so much inherent joy in creation and, you know, and expanding through music and getting to network with people and
you're a DJ,
shows.
Like,
and
if you're not having fun and you're a DJ, what the fuck? Come on. It's a party, man. That's what you're here for. That's your job.
Okay, but wait, I do recall that you wrote a song, what was it, Like Me? That one, wasn't that with the intention to get some pussy?
No swearing now.
Oh, no.
Tell us about that.
I realized that my Instagram post made it sound like that. No bad intentions behind that one. It was actually a period where this girl who is now my girlfriend and has been for like a year and a half.
I hope she doesn't mind me talking about her pussy on our podcast.
I'm sure she won't. Yeah, no, I sort of wrote it because I was unsure and was like really thinking like, does she like me back and all this? And I found like these sort of like vocal bits on Splice and was just like, yeah, you know what? Let me write a song about this. And then just ended up doing it. And secured the bag.
So how did she like it? Did she love it? She must have loved that, obviously.
Yeah. She likes a lot of my music. I mean, yeah, I think that one with the story behind it, and I've got one that's coming on the 12th of March, which was another one that was written about her, and she really likes that one. So I think it's kind of good to have those stories that go alongside it. I think it's another thing that makes people just resonate with your music a bit more if there's like a story behind it.
Yeah,
I guess.
Just with you as a person, real person, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, of course she must love that. Hell yeah, she does.
Have you ever written anything about each other?
Yeah, actually, we have our whole album. Like, we released one album, and the whole album's like a story album about how we met, what we went through, how we became Average Gypsy, and now we changed it to Citizens.
I was thinking
that's the one swear word you're not allowed to say on the show. It's the G word.
Yeah. Yeah, we were Average Gypsy for a long time. We just changed it to Average Citizens, like, oh gosh, in June?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Diplomatic.
Yeah, I guess we're offending a few people with that name. So
well, it can have some like oppressive connotations attached to it, and you know that conversation never really left us since we became Average Gypsy, and it just seemed like a good time with the way the climate of the world, and we were like, you know what, this doesn't really resonate with us anymore because it is considered offensive to people, and that's like doesn't align with, you know, our core values, even though the word gypsy means something different to us than it does to other people who find it oppressive. We were just like, we don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah, of course.
We want to focus on music, and so
and our name originally came from Average Citizen, which was my original DJ name, and she was Neon Gypsy. We came together, so we decided to be cool. Go back to that, and then, you know, we're all average citizens too, so it's cool. People can resonate with that.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the same thing with the Blessed Madonna now, haven't we? Like, name changes just based on culture, I guess. Which, I mean, it's good that you've sort of like, I guess, rebranded, and you've got a brand that you're happier with now, I suppose.
It's definitely a weight off the shoulders. But yeah, as you said, you know, it's cool to write tracks about real life. So yeah, we put out a whole album about it, and it was kind of nerve wracking though. Like, you're telling your story, and it's like so real, and it's like to put that out there, but it feels good. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, definitely. It's like a sort of level of vulnerability when you've got something that you have to put through distributors, and then like the sort of process of releasing music, you're like, there's so many stages where you can reconsider it and be like, should I not? But then just end up doing it anyway.
And it's like, you know, we make bass house, so, you know, it's not too much of a story. So it's like,
that's true.
The album had a lot different vibe than we are because of that. So, but it was fun. It was cool. I'm glad we did it. Yeah. Now everybody knows.
So we noticed that you had like a hit list of like artists who were like on fire. Who do you think is next? Like, who's on your hit list right now?
I definitely. It's a difficult one because there's so many artists that are like releasing different things now, but it does make it easier that not a lot of people are releasing, and not a lot of people are releasing good stuff at the moment just because of lockdown and the inability to play it, like especially bass house has sort of taken a bit of a dive with that. So I've sort of been going into more melodic stuff, like Hans Glader from the US, who's got like a sort of USG now, like US garage, which is, he's just an insane producer. Like me and him have worked on something, he's remixed something of mine, and he's definitely someone that I'll always bring up in these conversations because I feel like he's massively underrated. MPH, just like that EP
So
that he
good.
just released on Night
good.
Bass.
Yeah.
Deja.
was
Deja.
Yeah, that EP is
Fucking
so
love that
fire.
song so much.
The whole EP
God.
is fire. It's fire. It's fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
all
we
of
played
it.
like
all
3
of
of
it.
his tracks in our last mix.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
smashing it for sure.
No, definitely. He's one that I'll always sort of like champion. There's I mean, there's so many UK ones that just sort of slip under the radar because it's the sort of UK garage scene is just about sort of coming into the US now, like through Slater's like garage live streams, garage Sundays, all that sort of stuff, and you are seeing it become a little bit more present in the US and Canada and stuff like that. But there are a lot of producers that go under the radar, which was sort of my main thinking behind making that hit list post. Just if even like one person goes over and they get another monthly listener, like it's just someone else that might then go onto that gig and sort of like there's a guy called Badger who has like 400 SoundCloud followers, who's definitely someone that's like got some really cool stuff coming up. Like there's so many people that have just slipped under the radar because it's not really in the US and Canada right now, which is where a huge lot of your audience comes from. Like I just have to look through my Spotify for artists, and I'm sure you have the same sort of trend where US, Canada, huge. Everywhere else, 500 listeners. It's like not that big there.
Which always blows my mind when I see.
Yeah.
Just like, what?
It does.
This track is fire. You know? We all got to start somewhere though.
Yeah.
Who's sort of your favorites coming up at the moment?
You,
yeah, and yeah, miles per hour for sure. Also, Conductor. I think you're homies with the Conductor, right? Conductor. I seen you guys did a mix together. Yeah, his stuff is awesome. I love his mixes.
Yeah, for sure.
One person like out of Vancouver is Coca Cobra.
Coca Cobra,
Have
yeah.
you heard of Coca Cobra?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good friend of ours, and he's just like super talented, has been producing music for a really, really long time. And just like such a hardworking, awesome dude. So I think he just got picked up by like Night Bass and Confession. So I think that he's going to start popping off a lot in the next probably year.
Yeah. Vancouver's got a lot of dope talent in it for sure.
You've got Nostalgics, right?
Yeah,
Is she from Vancouver?
Yeah, she is. Yeah,
another talent.
Callie's here too. Yeah, it's funny, you know, Vancouver's kind of like that as well. Like we have, you know, it's almost like Toronto is the place in Canada where you make it, or like you'd leave Canada totally.
Yeah.
You know, it's like funny how you say people get under the rug and like people only now starting to listen to the UK scene, but it's like, I've been listening to that shit since the 90s, you know? And then same with Slater. He says that too. He's like, that's, you know, he's been inspired for it for the last 20 years, right? So it's nothing new to us, but yeah, it's funny when you hear that. It really is new to quite a few people, right? But it's nice to see they're jumping on it because this is the shit.
Yeah. I mean, it sort of just went away for about 20 years. Like
for some,
it's crazy
guess,
how it's just all of a sudden being revived.
I was always holding on. I never let it go. When you fall in love with that wobble, man, you just, you know.
The wobble.
It sticks with you for life. I heard it first in like drum and bass, like UK drum and bass. And then, you know, then I was like, oh, and I went to the house and Speed Garage and just like, damn. And Leduc is really bringing that Speed Garage sound back. I love his stuff's great. Do you know Leduc? He's another one that's, I feel like nobody knows him, but his fucking music, he just keeps pumping them out.
I'll check him out.
Yeah, check him out.
I feel like I've seen that name. What labels has he been releasing on?
His own label, how do you pronounce it? El Niquartia? I'm saying it wrong. I'm totally fucking it up. But he lives on the bigger island beside Ibiza.
Ibiza.
Yeah. So,
mad.
So he's Spain, but he's, you know, his sound is like so.
He's got several different aliases. We're actually interviewing him next.
Yeah. He's on next month.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, his sound is very like, you know, you haven't even heard of him. I think that's with a lot of people that haven't heard of him, but he's, you know, listen to his stuff. You're gonna
you would love his sound for sure.
Man. Yeah, really good. So
I hate it when people say a producer who's like massively talented, and I go, I've not heard of them, because you think how this thought keeps recurring to me. I know it's like not really that interesting, but like how many songs there must be out there that would be like your favorite song if you had heard it. Like so many people, like some people that have sent me stuff to my like demo email that you would just never have heard of, and you hear their stuff and you're like, whoa, do you have more of this stuff? And then you research them, they've got more like it. You're like, this is nuts. Like, how have I never heard this before? And it's such a shame. You see that with quite a lot of artists as well, because branding and your like publicity and stuff is really hard to come by nowadays. And there's a lot of people making awesome music. Like, by no means is my music one of the best out there, but the exposure that I'm getting at the moment is sort of, in my opinion, disproportionate. Like, there are people that deserve so much more, and there are other people that deserve like a lot more than what they're getting at the moment.
That's very humble of you to say. I don't know if I agree, but that's nice.
I think you'll always be very self-critical, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to be humble, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, like on the opposite end of that thought too is like, you could think about it in the sense of like, what if my song that I made would like totally resonate with someone and they'll never get to hear it either? Cause it's just like, you know, everything is kind of like a drop in the ocean. There's like
what is Spotify now? Like, I mean, I don't know what it is now, but I know like a year and a half ago, it was like 40,000 songs a day that were being submitted. Like, that's every day.
Whoa.
Like, so just think about
that.
that.
That was a long time ago.
You know, because with the technology, you pretty much can anybody can do it and put it up. It doesn't mean it's going to be good or whatever, or, you know, go anywhere. But that's a lot. And then that's, like you said, a drop in the ocean. You really get lost in that shit, you know? You're not getting picked. And it's like, I bet a lot of amazing music, I know it does, goes past and not get on Spotify playlists that should be, just because it's too much. How can they deal with it, right?
But that's why the key is consistency.
Yeah. For sure.
Just to like consistently keep putting out music, keep posting on social media, and continue to like put yourself out there over and over and over again. And again, to go back to like having that disattachment with outcomes, because we can't control it, you know, like you don't know like if and when and how and why AC Slater is going to pick you and pick your song, because it like he likes it on that specific day in that moment. You know, maybe if he had heard your song on a different day, he would have like passed it by. Like, you just never know why or how it's going to happen. So I think the important piece is to continue to like do it for the love of doing it, the joy of doing it, and continue to like be as consistent as possible, because you never know like when something will land or when it doesn't. And that's like such a hard thing, because like you said, you know, you have a song and it does well and you're like, shit, should I be making more of that? So there's like a fine line between
messes with your head,
listening to your audience and knowing what they want, but then also staying true to yourself, because it's like, it's pretty rare that the audience wants like exactly what the artist is going to make every single time. So I think there's like a little bit of teetering of like catering to like a specific label or a specific audience, but then also like obviously being true to your personal flavor as well. So
they like the same direction, at least. You can get a little bit wide. But I mean, you've released, how many tracks have you put out in the last year? Quite a few.
So many, like sometimes 15? 2 a month. Like it's been
okay. So there you go. I mean, it was nice to start with Night Bass, though, for sure. I mean, that really helps.
Definitely. It gave me momentum from the start, which was lovely, because then, you know, when you release on Night Bass, like these sorts of labels are like pillars of quality. Regardless of what's really released on there, it's going to turn heads, because to get on there is such like a selective process. The amount of people that submit to there and never get on it, your music automatically is sort of seen on a higher level than others.
The pedestal rises.
It elevates it massively. And it's the same with a lot of labels. Like having the Monster Cat one with Blue Claire was another thing that took me to that level as well. Because that label is just incredible in terms of like the quality that they uphold.
They're huge. They're up the street.
And to be part of that, it's just crazy. Like to to be part of that sort of family of producers that you just put on such a pedestal. And then when you take a step back and realize that you're releasing on it, it's just like mind blowing, and you just sort of can't really like even imagine it's happening. So yeah, that's
never mind at 18.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, true. Exactly. But this year I think things are slowing down slightly because I've just sort of realized that I can't uphold a 2-track a month like sort of release schedule. But the things that actually are coming out are definitely of like a higher quality, and I'm very excited for what this year holds for me, not just in terms of like the world in general. Like I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible when I say like I have optimism for like the world this year. I hope that we can get some kind of normality back at some point, or at least play like socially distant events, or you know, vaccinated events or whatever. But yeah, like the things that I've got coming up this year are very exciting. So I'm sort of very sitting here like I can't really give too much away, but
I was just going to say, tell us.
Have you guys got anything coming up soon?
Well, we just put out an EP Friday, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah, we did that with Dread, and we got Hot Fire on it, Greed, Raw Night Long remixes. That's going well. We got a video coming out for it this week, so we're excited about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've got
That's always good.
A couple of releases coming up too. But yeah, we've just been really trying to be as consistent in the studio as possible, like making as much music as possible and trying to get ready for when the world opens back up. So like you said about, you know, wanting to have like your shows be really fun and interactive. So we've been like putting a lot of thought into how we can make our shows more entertaining and more inclusive with the audience. And so once the world opens, we just like come like right out of the gates.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We also run a festival too that we donate the money to kids for camps. So last year, you know, it's in June. So last year we had to do a virtual thing. This year we're not sure how that's going to go, but yeah, definitely keep that going. So, you know, we do a Halloween one too. So we're hoping by Halloween we can actually do a real show in October. That'd be nice. But yeah, like you said, I think that things are going to start coming back slowly, at least 50 people, 100 people, some social distancing stuff. I can see the summer being like that. So
we'll have to get you to come and play our festival one day.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
I'm down. Anything charity, I'm down for it.
Yeah, awesome. It's weird though. Like nobody, like, you know, we had so many shows and so many things going on, and then just for everything to be put on hold for 2 years is so like strange, and it's such a weird vibe. But like
it's been 1 year, babe.
Yeah, but it's by the time this is like dragged out, I feel like it's going to be close to 2 years by the time things are normal, whatever the fuck that is. So it's like, yeah, you know, we've been putting a lot into like making the music, because before we were touring, we were barely like home. So it was like a lot harder. So, you know, using that time, but yeah.
But yeah, I think
it's a hard question to answer.
You would love
in the dark.
Our festival. Like people, some of our friends who live in the UK are just like, oh, like Canada, because it's just like wide open spaces and like fields and mountains. And where we hold our festival is in Pemberton, which is, have you heard of Whistler? You know Whistler? It's like Whistler's like a world-renowned ski resort.
Oh, right, okay.
And Pemberton is like just past Whistler. So
the 2010 Olympics were there, the Winter Olympics.
Yeah. It's like a really cool, iconic like ski resort. But the festival is held like in the middle of a huge grass open field that's like 360 degrees surrounded in mountains. It's absolutely stunning.
Whoa.
And yeah, it's just one stage, and about like this year we were probably going to have about 2,000 people at it. So like a smaller kind of boutique festival, but it's so fun because it's one stage. So no matter what your time slot is or who's playing, like you're going to have like a really, really nice crowd. Yeah. And it's just, the vibes are so good because the integrity behind it, we donate 100% of the proceeds. Like we pay ourselves to DJ, but we throw the whole festival.
It's nonprofit
for free. Yeah. So the integrity behind the festival is really good. So the vibes are just like so on point. Like everybody's just like happy to help, and it's good vibes all around.
Yeah. It's for the kids.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
We do it to send kids to soccer camps that can't really afford it because the camps are pretty expensive. We do it with Jada Merritt. Do you know Jay Demerit? Do you follow soccer or football, I should say?
No. No.
Yeah, he's
But
pretty
that
big
is a
out
very
there on
good
the
cause.
island. Jay's pretty big on the island, I would say. Right?
Yeah.
In the UK. So yeah, we do it with him. And yeah, you know, the vibes are amazing when you're given it. I don't even think I've ever been to a festival that gives 100% of the money away to something. So it's just it's such a different, a different feeling for sure. It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's a very good cause. And like you say, it sort of means that everybody that goes to it, especially if they know what the cause is, like, can really get behind it, and it must just be like a really nice sort of like vibe and feeling.
It is
going around there.
Yeah, and the mountains, like you're just look up when we get off, look up Pemberton, BC. You're gonna be like, oh shit, yeah, it's beautiful, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. It'd be fun.
We just get some shit industrial state and just call it a day over in the UK.
And we think that's awesome. We're like, oh, that's so cool.
Oh, fuck yeah.
In it, you always like what you don't have.
Yeah.
I guess.
I want an abandoned warehouse.
Swoon.
It's so dirty in here. It's the best. So true,
you would love the UK underground clubs then.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, we've been to a few. Where did we go? Went to Fabric. And we didn't go to the Egg, but went to Fabric. And yeah, I hope that like the clubs can come back and everything's going to be okay. It seems pretty scary for the scene over there from what I've seen. So, I mean, hopefully those clubs can keep going and don't get shut down.
Yeah. Have you been getting like support from government and state and all that sort of stuff for music? Because we've got next to nothing.
It's interesting. It's more of like on a personal level, like the clubs and businesses have, but only so much. Yeah. And then for now that it's dragged out so long, they're getting to the point where they're starting to shut down. So some clubs, some restaurants are like, we ain't coming back. I mean, the building's there. Someone might take it over.
I think he's talking about are you talking about like financial like grants and
that's what I mean.
Stuff?
Yeah.
Like our government is supporting people who need it, and then there's also within the music industry there's a lot of stuff you can apply for as well.
There is, but it only goes
definitely
so far.
There, but yeah,
it depends. On an individual level, it's a little bit better, but businesses, some of them, like some clubs, have been shutting down, and they're saying they're not coming back. They just can't. So that's why, hopefully this summer things can start at least opening. You know, then we can start dragging it back a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen a few things
100%.
On the news there in the UK, and it's fucking sad, man. I've been watching those clubs
for like
20 years. Yeah. Bleak.
Yeah.
Rubbish.
Yeah.
Rubbish.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's
we listen to UK music so long, just talking like that's the best. Bollocks.
I remember the first time I went to London, I picked up like a newspaper, and it like the front cover of it, and it was like couple perishes in a pile of their own rubbish. It was like these hoarders that had died in their own hoard of a mess.
Oh my goodness.
Their own rubbish.
Oh man.
That just sums up Britain, to be honest.
My God.
Yeah, I love it there so much. It is busy as fuck though. Like, you know, Vancouver, it's almost like, where is everybody? Even like before this shit happened. Yeah. But London, we were going, oh, let's go shopping. It's like, fuck. It's like you're at a festival, like in the streets.
Yeah, it's so claustrophobic.
Holy shit.
And I mean, it goes back to like, you always want what you can't have. Like for me, whenever, like I live in a fairly, like where I live isn't a lot like that, but I'm someone who just really likes being in like open spaces. Not like, I hate the sort of claustrophobia of being in a crowd at like a festival. I really hate it. I get so like, you know, those people that just like knee you in the back and like kick you from the front, and people that start fucking skanking on your side, like kicking your shins. It's annoying as fuck.
Oh, you love Canada, man. We got a lot of space.
Yeah, exactly. And I just, it's so annoying. And you always get the person standing next to you. I mean, I'm 6'4", so I'm sure I piss people off like quite a lot. But you always get the people next to you that are like, you know, digging into you and doing all these like especially like with drum and bass events, people just decide that they're going to skank in the middle of the floor and just like clip your heels and ankles and shins. It's like, it's annoying as fuck. But yeah, no, I would love to be out in like open spaces. I'm not a huge fan of the crowd, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, have you heard of Shambhala before, the festival?
I feel like I have heard of that one. Where's that?
They need you. That's it's like about a 9-hour drive from Vancouver in the mountains in the Kootenays.
Salmo.
It's like close
it's like
close
near
to
Nelson, BC.
But yeah, it's I mean, any DJ that's played there will say it's the best festival in the world. I think including all the guys from overseas as well. But yeah, you'll be there.
Chris Lorenzo, I believe,
you got the
that
sound.
It was his favorite festival, and Skrillex.
Chris and I think Scream too. Oliver was saying that.
Yeah.
Oliver loves it. Yeah. You'll be there. You got the sound.
Yeah,
but
sure.
yeah, that's,
fingers crossed.
That's like, I think it's like 100 acres. I don't know how wrong I am there, but something like that, or maybe more. But there's a lot of room. But I mean, it's been getting a little bit packed. But you're like, it's like a festival in the forest. So
seven stages in the forest.
Yeah, it's
and there's a river. And
it's 1 o'clock.
There it is again.
There she is.
And then she's British, British Siri. And they've been building it for like, I think this will be their 23rd, or well, it's supposed to be 24th year, but they've been building on the stages the whole time. So and then they keep them there. Like one of the stages is actually in a big tree stump, shit like that. So it's just,
it's amazing,
mind blowing. Like, yeah,
you gotta come.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
You gotta come.
But on the note of music, we should listen to this song.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, tell us about this track that we're gonna hear here.
Which one did I send over to you?
You sent us. Oh, let me see. I can't. Oh, here it is. The Without You track.
Ah, that one. Yeah, I thought it was that one, but I had to make sure because I've been sending out a lot of different things to different people. Yeah, Without You, it's just one of those like for me, it was the one that I had to send over to you because like I've got a playlist of like 17 tunes that are all unreleased, and I could have sent any, but I wanted to send that one in particular because it was just like, for me, I think it sort of perfectly sort of brings everything together, the sides of my production, like the UK garagey bit, and then it goes into 4/4, and then it's like the sort of vocal chops and pads and stuff. It just, for me, it's where I want my sound to go, and the direction that I really want to go in, and the music that I really enjoy making. I think for me, it was just a really enjoyable project to make, and it's also definitely the cleanest project. Like everything's labeled, everything's like color coded and named. So from like from a sort of organizational perspective, it was a fun one to make as well. But yeah, no, just really enjoy making the track, and hopefully you like it.
Yeah. Do you does it have a home yet?
It does. I'm afraid I can't say the home.
Okay. No problem.
Which is annoying.
Yeah, sorry. At least we get to play it.
But it's, yeah, I believe it is coming in July. I think that's about as much as I can say. But yeah, it's going to be a very exciting release.
Cool.
Awesome. Exciting. Okay, let's hear it.
Hit it, baby.
Come on, let's rave.
This is as good as it's going to get right now.
You can't turn the lights down. It's noon here.
Thank you.
Light him up if you got him. I like where your sound is going.
Thank you.
That is a nice Sunday vibe
Sexy.
right there. Okay, you know what it reminds me of? Castle. Do you know Castle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
reminds me of Castle, and that was like something that was really special for us when we like first started dating. Castle was like
Yeah, big for us.
that was big for us. Yeah, we used to.
Yeah, Castle's a legend. He's actually he's producing under Be Rich, I think,
Be
right? He had a
Rich,
lot of
yeah.
like Wobble House, Fidget House back in the day under Be Rich, and then he just exploded his Castle because wow, that's some
Where has he
sexy music.
been?
I think he still does. Like he's got like a show in LA. He does like a radio show, and he's been putting out a few things.
Oh, yeah.
I think he did a
Okay.
night bass release maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah, I think he was on a remix compilation of some kind.
Yeah,
I seem to remember.
yeah. He's been around for a minute. He's actually really good friends with Aaron Slater. But yeah, man, great,
Yeah.
great vibes, dude. Sexy. I love it, and I love how
Thank
you're like,
you.
this is like where you want it to go. Like super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely because it's kind of like trying to find a middle ground between something you can dance to, but something that's nice to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, like something you can. I kind of want to make music that you can listen to anywhere. Like if you're
Yeah.
driving, if you're on a beach, if you're like in the club, trying to find that kind of middle ground for something that's got like a beat, but it's also kind of nice to listen to.
Yeah, yeah, it's good drive music. Even chilling in a cafe, that's like nice.
And it's perfect right now because everybody chilling.
Everybody chilling.
Exactly, exactly.
Oh, shit. Once you start DJing and raging, who knows you're gonna make?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I have wondered about this. Like, where's my sound gonna go when I actually start hearing bassline
Yeah.
again?
Yeah. Well, like you said earlier, there's like
Like,
there's no
and when
shows.
that actually starts being released.
Yeah, and there's no shows right now, so it's like your inspiration is coming off such different. Like I get so inspired too. Like go to Shambhala and then we leave, and just so much comes out of me after that, you know, or any festival. But
Yeah,
you don't
for
have
real.
that right now, so it's it'll be interesting to see where you go once you start DJing the world.
Yeah,
I'm excited
definitely.
for it.
Definitely.
Yeah, great work, man. Great work.
Yeah, I love that. I love all your music. So it's a really big pleasure to get to chat with you and learn more about your process and your outlook and everything. And so excited to watch as you continue to evolve and step into the DJ booth, and that's so exciting. And hopefully we can have you over in Canada and maybe hang out in London sometime.
Yeah.
But I have one more question for you.
Shoot, go for it.
What day of the week are you? If you had to be any day of the week,
In terms of vibes,
well, anything, like if you were a day of the week, what day of the week would you be and why?
if I was the day of the week, I feel like I'll be a Thursday because it's like you're nearly at Friday, but you're not quite there. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like Thursday's a day where it's kind of like sort of excitement that it's coming up to the end of the week, but like you're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
That's how I sort of feel about my music, I guess. It's like
Yeah.
not quite at Friday, but we're moving.
Yes. I'm a Thursday too, dog.
Great answer.
Hey, come on. Thursday has like green vibes. Do you know what I mean?
Green
Thursday
vibes.
feels green. Yeah, like every day has like a color. Like Wednesday's red for me.
Oh,
Friday's blue.
Interesting.
Do you not think that, like, what color would you give Monday?
Monday?
For me, Mondays are blue or a yellow because like blue Mondays, but yellow as well.
I think of
Interesting.
like
I never thought of them as colors. That's
yeah,
interesting.
I don't know. I would think of Monday as like a green because like Monday is like go time. It's like back to work. Like fresh week. Like let's get it started. But I agree with you on the Thursday. Like I'm a Thursday too, I think, because Thursday for me has like a special energy where it's like, yeah, the weekend is like at bay,
Nearly
but like
there.
it's not there yet, but it's exciting, and like you might like go out for a drink, but it's also, you know, you've had the whole week behind you, so you're probably feeling like pretty good and how much you've achieved, but like ready for the weekend. And maybe like in the past it would be a day where we'd be like jumping on an airplane or like traveling to like go play a show, you know, it's like that excitement.
Yeah, you usually leave Thursday if you're playing Friday.
Leave Thursday,
for sure,
yeah. So
Yeah.
Thursday.
Cool.
But you're what are you?
I'm Monday, yeah.
He's a Monday. Yeah.
Oh no.
He's blue.
I just love the
Monday.
new opportunity, fresh week. Let's go. You know, I'm just such a go-getter too.
Yeah.
I'm just like a doer.
Yeah.
So Monday's great. Sometimes on the weekends, especially now, I just get a little bit like, fuck. I think I push myself a little bit harder on Mondays. So yeah.
It's a good outlook to have. It's quite rare to have that outlook.
Yeah.
A lot of people just fucking hate Mondays.
Hate Mondays,
but like,
I know. No, they're my favorite. New beginnings, man. Get it.
it's good. It's good that you see it that way, though. We need more Monday people in the world.
Yeah.
And it's cool that she's Thursday and I'm Monday. So it's like, that's perfect together. Can't wait to get on that Thursday airplane again.
Oh. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We will get there.
We'll get there. Well, great to chat, man. So nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's been good to talk to you guys as well.
Yeah, it was really
it's been a pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Cheers.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
At Drinks on Me Music on Insta, or just Drinks on Me on Spotify. They're the two like main socials, to be honest.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
great.
Yeah, so people watch out for Drinks on Me. He's on the fucking come up. As soon as this world opens up, it's gonna be woo. Yeah,
Booked every
We
day.
want some more TikTok videos. More TikTok.
Yeah,
videos.
keep those TikToks coming, man. They're the best.
Definitely. Yeah. I should be plugging my TikTok in the
Yeah.
socials, but
Yeah.
not quite there yet.
It's okay. You're Instagramming them.
Exactly.
By
exactly.
Thursday.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, again, nice to meet you, man. We'll talk soon.
Yeah.
You have a great night.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Cheers.
so much.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.